So they'll be looking to maybe improve, but it's definitely going to be an interesting race, that's for sure.
It should be. I believe both players are setting off. Trips just behind Tascan. So both players, first of all, they have to do the flying box strat. This is the intended way of getting out of Greenwich.
Oh, I hate this strat.
A lot of people really don't like this strat. What I need to do is I need to... Oh, sugar, pause the stream. That's not very good, is it? Trips was slightly ahead of Tascan there.
Yeah, Trips has just got through and out of bounds. He glides above the map, just waiting for him to go. As he glides under the map, and now he's above the map. For those that don't know how out of bounds works in this game, you fall underneath the map, and if you can glide with Bugs' ears, you will spawn above it again. It enables you to get into every door early.
There we go. I've now got the chat and I can see what's going on as well. So Trips makes his way over to Tweety. This is to get the first power up, and this is actually why we go to Viking first. You're supposed to go to Aztec first, but we go to Viking first because of these two power ups.
Again, we're out of bounds. I think that would be an interesting thing to calculate, how much time you spend out of bounds in this game.
Oh, it would be actually, wouldn't it? You must spend, I'd imagine it must be at least 20% of the run, I'd guess. Tascan just joining Trips out of bounds. Trips' stream has paused for me.
Yeah, same. Oh, he's okay now.
They're back on.
That was, what was that, 143-ish on the token?
140 something. I couldn't quite catch. But Tascan is just slightly behind.
Yeah, looking at...
Now you can see Trips doing the super bugs strat. To do this, you need to get Bugs to grab a ledge. Taz picks Bugs up, leaves him on the ledge. Throw Taz into freezing water, and you get super bugs.
It's a shame we can't use super bugs more because it's such a cool strat.
Yes, it is a shame. I mean, we used to use it in Moon Valley, didn't we? You were around for those days when we used to use it in Moon Valley. We use it a little bit more in 100%. It can also actually be used in Greenwich as well, but there's no useful application as such.
If I remember rightly, I retired just as the new Moon Valley strat came into play.
You could be right about that, actually. I'm not quite sure. So now both players are inside our first proper level, if you like. This is the shield race, auto scroll level. These are fairly straightforward. You just have to get through to the end, pretty much. In this case, you have to beat these two guys down to the bottom of the hill. And once you do that, you get the token.
This is a nice level in 100%.
Yeah, in 100%, this isn't too bad actually. A lot of people don't like this level, but actually holding forward on your controller or keyboard is the best way to go. We have to do most of these levels twice in 100%, purely because of split paths and whatever.
Trips getting the second boss token there, 334.
Tascan is not far behind him. I watched Trips' game, when was it? Last week. It was on Wednesday, wasn't it? And it was very much a game of cat and mouse between him and Aish. Whenever Trips looked like he was going to catch Aish, he just somehow managed to get away, and in the end, Aish had a little bit too much. But he's doing well so far. And he's now going on to the first of our out of bounds in Moon Valley. This is actually probably one of the hardest ones to do, because sometimes bugs can squish for too long. Trips has avoided that, thankfully.
Yeah, he's got it first try, nice.
It does. That actually ties in with what Treble was saying at the beginning about going below the map. If you are squished for too long, you can't actually go above the map and you get spawn walk back to the start.
Yeah, this new, well, it's not new route anymore, but it's saves a lot of time when you get this bang on.
It does. Tascan, I think, is doing the more conventional method, you might call it. I think he's going to use superbugs.
That's what I love about this category in particular. I said it in for the first game that I commentated. There are so many backup strats, and you can still get a nice solid sub 40 time with all the backup strats.
Oh, easily. I mean, yesterday I messed about in Zoovania and Count and still managed to get a 33, didn't I? So there are so many useful backup strats.
So if anyone's thinking of picking up a nice little speed game that isn't too long, isn't too stressful, well, okay, it might be a bit stressful, some of the skips, but this is definitely the one to do.
Both players just struggling a little bit to do what they need to do. I must say, this bit that Tascan doing now in 100% is quite tricky. I do lose runs to that quite a lot. There we go. Trips has finally got across. It's a really tricky thing to do what he did there, and Tascan's already done it. So that's called the anvil jump. And you want to line bugs up with the anvil, cover onto the anvil, and then at the last second you dive jump across onto the platform.
Yeah, the anvil jump is one of those, if you don't nail it first time, it seems to be one of those things that takes a couple of tries after that, unfortunately.
Just looking at some of the comments in chat, we've got Bearhead, who's one of the runners in this tournament. He makes actually a very good point about sub 40 is actually quite hard to do, especially if you're a newcomer to the game. I'd say if you're a newcomer, it probably takes about 50 minutes, maybe an hour, depending on how much you've played the game.
I've never seen this before. Tascan using the Bugs' gliding ability to skip the belly flop animation of the dude on the ship.
Yeah, it's a bit of a. It's similar to the. It's similar to the other strat that we do where we stand on the edge. But both. I can't remember what I was going to say. My train of thought was gone. It's similar to the strat that we would normally do. There are two ways of avoiding this belly flop attack. You can either stand on the edge of the pier, as Trips is doing now, or you can death abuse, which is ever so slightly faster than standing on the edge of the pier. But a lot of players prefer to stand on the edge of the pier because it's a bit of a safety. It's easy to do. There are multiple languages which you can play on. I'm not 100% sure what they all are, but most of the common ones are there. French is there, Spanish is there, Italian, Dutch, and there is one more I'm forgetting. I can't remember which one it is. I'm really sorry.
There's not much in this at all. This is going to be an absolute belter.
No. Trips on the final hit. I think Tascan is not far behind.
So it's 808 for Trips on Viking area complete.
Yeah, this is very similar to Trips' last game, actually. Only this time Trips is the cat rather than the mouse in this situation. So that how we're supposed to get to Aztec is we're supposed to pick up these 10 gears in Greenwich. But this is why we get the throw, because you can actually skip the intended ways of getting to these areas. So if you stand to the right of the door, throw bugs up and over the door on Taz's head, you should be able to get into Aztec.
Yeah, speaking of the throw ability, Trips is just picking up the bounce ability where you bounce off Taz's head with bugs and go a little bit higher. You can actually skip that ability if you want to, but it is a little risky, so it's definitely worth getting, in my opinion.
I have actually tried leaving it out, being as I've got to play Exordo in the next game, but I found it quite tricky, actually. So Tascan just entering the boom realm with Trips. And what you have to do here is you have to find these 3 switches, throw these coconuts into them, and this is very similar to Moon Valley. So there are 3 groups of switches. Once we found them all, we go and fight the boss.
This baboon that's causing Tascan a bit of trouble with Taz is a nightmare.
Yeah, he's a bit funny, the baboon, because it's very rare that he doesn't attack you, but there is actually it can happen where he doesn't attack you sometimes. It happened actually to me once not that long ago. But either he attacks you at the same time, or sometimes he comes flying out, and if that happens, you have to improvise a little bit. Now, both players are doing the out of bounds in Baboon Realm. You might kind of think, well, why don't we just go straight to the boss with all these out of bounds? Well, the answer is you can't. You have to actually do all these intended activities in order to load the boss.
Yeah, and the same goes for Moon Valley, the level we've just seen. You can glide towards the ship, but nothing will trigger unless you lower the bridge. I think the bounce is just a backup for the wind temple. Is that correct, Bruno?
Yes, I saw Bearhead's comment there, and I was wondering what he was referring to. Yeah, it's a backup for the Wind Temple. It's also a backup for Royal Gardens as well. Royal Gardens is actually a level you kind of need it in, because if you get it wrong, then it causes all sorts of problems, really, because then you can't perform the Royal Gardens out of bounds correctly. So it's definitely needed. In 100% though, the bounce is actually going to be picked up in a slightly different way in future. I'm going to pick it up from Count rather than picking it up from Tweety here. So we can see Trips now inside the boss, but rather than fighting the boss, you literally just throw bugs at the door there, skip the boss, and you pick up the boss token. And the one thing about that boss, actually, I don't know if many people know, he's actually RNG as well. So it's definitely nice to skip him.
So Trips here now is going for an out of bounds that Tascan himself found. So this is Tascan's strap that enables you to skip a little puzzle where you have to dig into the floor and bump up some what would you call them? Bump up some
Posts.
some posts, if you will, to climb up to that switch. It's much easier. Well, it's much quicker to fall from the top of the map to it.
Nice dive jump from Trips there to get the token. Tascan not far behind him.
Now this really is a close one.
It's again, it's a little bit cat and mouse. It's perhaps not quite as the same as Trips and Aish. Oh, now, okay. I thought the token hadn't loaded there for Tascan.
Yeah, so did I for a minute. Time for the sacred ride now.
It is. You can see this animation here. If you hold left and right on your keyboard, rather than walking normally, this is a slightly faster animation. And this actually suits Trips very nicely because he's a keyboard player, and that means he can actually hit the flame button rather than leaning across on his controller. So Trips is best placed for this level. Also, that's something I actually didn't know, Bearhead. So I'll have to try that dive jump because that's something I didn't know about the dive jump.
Is the bounce ability needed in the conventional way to be Count as well?
Yes, but I think you're given it. I think
automatically, yeah, by just getting there.
Yes.
Yeah. Because when we get to Count, which is in a little while, you can, although the ability makes you bounce on Taz's head with bugs, you can use Taz to jump on Bugs' ears and still get the same height.
Yes, I mean that's one of the most frustrating things about Count is he only gives you a few power-ups. He doesn't give you all of them. Otherwise, 100% would be completely different, I think. So now both players in the chase section, and this again is pretty straightforward. The lava, you have to be really slow to get killed by. I think you get damage abused first. And then when you get to the end there, it's actually easier to say you're going to do the level again, even though you aren't, and quit rather than exiting the conventional way through the menu.
So now we are done with 2 of the areas. We're on the way to the 3rd area, the one that we do in order, if you like. The Viking area is actually the 2nd area supposed to access, the Aztec being the 1st. Arabian area is actually the 3rd.
And we're supposed to defeat Elmer there to get into the Arabian area, but again, if you throw bugs straight at the door, you get into Arabian straight away. I'd love to have been a little kid and found all this stuff out. You know, rather than defeating Elmer, you can just throw bugs at the door and you're inside. It's fantastic.
So this is the wind temple that I mentioned earlier. If you do mess up the plant pot dive strat up here, Trips doesn't, he nails it first go. There are 2 opportunities to do so. That's why the bounce is nice to have as a backup.
Certainly is. I should also say as well, type in !BBTTB to find out more details about our tournament and our community as well. Our Discord will be on there as well. Come and say hi to us, come and ask us a question if you want.
Yeah, there are plans to do tournaments of other categories, and for those people who don't know this game, aren't familiar with our categories, at any percent to complete this game as quickly as possible, you can do it in about 2.5 minutes.
Yes, any percent is a crazy ride. I'm not sure the exclamation mark that I was referring to was working actually, because Bearhead's trying to do it, and unfortunately it's not quite working. But you will find if you go on our speedrun.com page, you can find the tournament details and the Discord there if you wish.
Bring back that lab.
Everybody loves that phrase. So Trips now in Carpet Chase, which is our next ride level. This one is probably the easiest actually of the 4 in this category. You just have to beat the little guy to the end, and you get the token. And 100%, again, this is a little bit more challenging because the little guy is actually RNG, and there are certain circumstances where you actually can't hit him till the very end to get past him. So this level in 100 is a little bit more scary, especially if you're on good pace.
By the way, I have to mention it. That introduction of me being the co-op 100% world record holder. That's all you, my friend. That's all you.
One thing, actually, if you ever do 100%, actually, but believe it or not, what Trips is doing, what the both players are doing, actually, if you hold the coconut out, it actually expands your hitbox, so it actually makes it easier to pick up some of the gears.
I did not know that.
No, that's actually the strat. If you hold the coconut out, it gives you more of a hitbox, and therefore you can pick up the gears a little bit easier. So while both players are still in a ride level, I guess we should just explain the storyline of the game. So basically, Granny hires Daffy to be a pest or a rodent remover to remove this mouse. But Daffy being Daffy, he's not very good. And instead of taking the mouse, he takes the time gem. That causes all disturbances throughout time. And it's a job of Bugs and Taz to go through the 4 different areas and to basically restore time. Getting the time gem is part of any percent, and that's one ending, but you need all 6,010 gears for 100%.
A nice little dive and call of Taz there by Trips.
Yeah, it's very similar to the game that I had on Wednesday. They're both quite close to each other, but they're just Trips just seems to be able to get away when he needs to.
It's where Tascan's route differs. He jumps into the Earth Temple first before visiting the Royal Gardens.
Yes, I've noticed this. This is something I may well actually put in 100% potentially, because there's a little guy outside which is RNG.
So as you can see, Tascan is out of bounds yet again, as we always are in this game, but this time's a bit different. You click through a crystal, and you can stay level with the ground and then fall down perfectly on top of the genie rather than going through the entire room. You can leave Taz at the front door, so you have to do a switch and leave.
So Trip's now leaving the first room.
Yeah, just a quick note on how Royal Gardens works is there are 3 pearls that you need to collect in order to put them on the lion statues to get the boss token. You get one of them in the intended way, which you've just seen with the rings in the room with the water. The others, we go out of bounds.
So Trips is doing that out of bounds now. And he's done that very, very well, actually. So you now go for the second one.
Oh, and Tascan there just showing that you can actually throw bugs through the rings, but if you click the edge, so we click the edge on that one, it counted. Sometimes it won't count. It is very annoying when that happens.
I should just say, you can still hear me, right? Because I checked to see what message was on the Discord. You can, that's fine.
You can hear you loud and clear, pal. Loud and clear.
I heard a message on Discord and I went to check what it was.
So there we go. Trips has got the 3 pearls and his boss token has spawned for him. Very good out of bounds there. You're good, Bruno.
That's fine. Tascan just perhaps allowing Trips to build a bit more of a lead. He seemed to struggle with that first room a touch.
So Trips will show off the Earth Temple now as I guess it doesn't really matter what order you do that in.
No, it's an interesting route, I think. I don't think it makes I'd say it has no advantage or disadvantage. Is perhaps the diplomatic way of saying it. Bearhead also referring there back to those rings. They are a real problem because of how finicky they can be. So Trip's now rescuing our 3rd genie, and to get the boss token in this world, you have to free all these genies. I can't remember if Treble mentioned that or not. But we have to do it this way because you can't go out of bounds to the token, unlike our previous eras.
Yeah, and there are 4 genies to free. We've seen the wind, water, and earth genie. Time for the fire genie.
Trip's going for the cutscene skip. Oh, he's unlucky again. That's exactly what happened on the last run, I think. He just didn't quite bounce. But at least he didn't do what I do. At least he didn't come out too early. If you can't get that, then that's the next best thing that can happen.
Yeah, so Trips is now done with the Arabian area. Just needs to get the carrot gun from Tweety as we need it in the final area, and he will be heading to Transylvania.
Tascan now on the fire temple. Let's see if he goes for the cutscene skip. And get ready for Heartbreak River. You could not have said it. You couldn't be more the money there, Bearhead.
So we just look at Trips. He's used the out of bounds by the Arabian door. This was the conventional way we used to go out of bounds and into the other areas from the beginning of the game before the box clip was found. Again, so that is a perfect backup if you are struggling with the box clip when you just start to learn this category. And that one, once you get this dive jump down, you'll get it every time without fail.
I've got to say, Trips did really well there because I thought he might have been a bit too low, but he recovered that really well. Meanwhile, Tascan doing the same trick. He gets it on the second go. And this is actually quite a good way of learning any percent if you can't do the flying box strat. This is the next best thing to do. So as both players are in a ride level, I guess we should say something about the PC and the PlayStation version. Obviously, you can't speedrun this game on PlayStation. There are a number of problems, such as the loading screens take 5 to 10 seconds. So you'd all be about a minute behind at this point. Also, a number of the mini games don't work the same. Bugs doesn't jump as high. The tricks don't work the same. And there are just too many problems to run this on PlayStation, unfortunately. Also, as well, the music for this level that we're in, Haunted River, or Heartbreak River, as it's now being called, is actually slightly different to the 100%. At 100%, it's different to the PlayStation version. We're not sure why this is, but there are a few levels that are like this. Sylvania is the same. Roll the Drums, which we won't see today, and of course the Count Final Boss as well.
Roll the drums.
Roll the Drums, RNG mini game. If that don't entice you to do 100%, nothing will.
Certain Trips is second place in the one-player 100% category, behind the Blue Knight, who is the 100% king. But it was a record that Bearhead held for a long time.
It was. I actually watched. I watched a video of Certain Trips' run. He did very, very well because the game was being really, really unhelpful to him. It kept soft locking in unhelpful places, and I'm really happy that he managed to complete the run. And whether he comes back to it or not is up to him. But he certainly has my backing to get sub 2 if he ever fancies it.
Yeah, so Trips has got the first token here in Transylvania area, and now the second token he's in front of, you're supposed to transform into 3 monsters and go up the top of 3 towers and hit the bell to open the door. However, as he's about to showcase, this is a very finicky strat, I must admit. Can dive, put Taz in the perfect place, dive jump just in the gap, and clip inside and pick up the token. This could be the leveler.
I think he's got it there.
Oh, he's got in there.
It's, as Treble was saying, it's a really tough strat to do because you've got to have Taz the perfect length away.
So we actually used that strat in any percent to get into the Count's castle without the boss tokens. It's also using 100% because the boss tokens don't actually count for any percentage in this game. So you don't even need the boss tokens in 100%.
So both players are now inside, I guess what you might call the final level, which is Zoovania. And this is the longest level in any category because there are 2 parts of this. There's a day section and a night section. And to turn the clock from day to night, you have to find all these switches. And then once you go into the night, you're supposed to fight these plant eaters. But we're going to see a way of skipping that. Trips there is mighty unlucky not to get that. He looked like he should have got it for me.
Oh, this switch is so annoying under the water. I tend to avoid diving into the water. It makes it slightly easier to hit that switch. You can still hit the switch, as Trips just shown there.
He looked like he was in a really good position to get it the first time. Unfortunately, he just couldn't quite manage to do it.
But I'm not one to be giving out advice where I am on the leaderboards.
So now we're going to see another trick. You can add a bounds to this next switch that Trips is on. But there's also a glitch actually that you can do. You're supposed to push these cages onto these switches, but if you jump and run away from the switch there with Bugs or Taz, you can actually get the waterfall to go down, and you can go straight through the hole. So Taz is supposed to stand on the switch that Bugs was on, but because Trips has glitched it, he's managed to do it the conventional way.
Yeah, but Tascan has used the out of bounds strat. Here we are, out of bounds again, where you can clip through a gate and the wall and glide straight down onto it. Tell you what, we're back level now.
They are back level. And Trips having a few problems with the out of bounds.
Tascan nails it first go.
Trips has got it now.
This is going to be a proper close one. This is
going to be a proper filler. That's a shame because that's the second time the Trips might have lost to that, unfortunately.
It is a horrible out of bounds, to be fair.
It is because again you have to make sure Taz is in the correct place in order to get it. And the Bearhead actually making a very good point there. This could come down to Count himself. If Count is RNG, so it's a bit like losing a penalty shootout in a sport game, really. It's that cruel.
So as you see, we've turned to night time. All the animals have turned to monsters. You're supposed to go into the other area here and grab the bubblegum and fly up to the boss token where there's a little mini boss to fight, as we've seen mini bosses in every area so far. However, you can use the bubblegum in the plant area from the beginning that we saw earlier. Fly right the way up to the token.
This is a risky move actually, because this is only me and Treble yesterday. It's only a slightly faster move than doing it the intended way. So you do have to be careful when doing this move. It's not too hard to do. It's one of these things, once you've done it a few times, you should get it. But nevertheless, I always kind of fear a little bit when I do this move that I'm going to miss.
It's something that I could never nail when I was playing all those years ago. I like what Tascan does here, where he gets it from below and then spawn walks back to the beginning.
Oh, has he got that?
Might not have counted.
I don't think he did.
Oh, that's unlucky.
Trips has got it though. That might decide it for Trips. I think that might decide it. That's very harsh on Tascan, that, but unfortunately, I guess that's the name of the game, unfortunately. And
yeah, that's a cruel way to lose that.
Yeah, should see this home.
Trips into Count's castle. There are a number of puzzles you're supposed to solve, but we're not going to do that. We're just going to jump on the doors and walk through them.
Even in 100%, we don't actually solve these puzzles. In this particular one that Trips is in now, you're supposed to, I think you're supposed to find these switches from the chandeliers, but you don't need to do that. You can door clip through that first door, but it's quite a tricky thing to do. So if you can't do that, then it's best to go out of bounds, like Trips has just done.
And from there, you do have a choice. If you struggle with the other door clips, you can just out of bounds straight to the final door and click through that. There's also a backup strat with the Acme box on the right-hand side of the stairs. This is why I love this game so much, as I said earlier. So many backup strats to be able to get down, to be able to get a nice time.
Just seeing if Tascan gets the... Tascan has this time got it.
So Trips in Count now. This is the RNG part where he can spawn on either 4 of these corners. You can only cover 2 of them. So you have a 50% chance of getting him first go. He's not being very nice at the moment.
He will get it that time now, and he does. He can spawn on the wrong side several times in a row there, Count. It's really annoying when he does that. I wonder if Tascan, he'll have to be quick, but he could just come back. I think, unfortunately, that might have just done it. Unfortunately, that first door clip that he went for. So as Trevor was talking earlier, you're supposed to bounce on Taz's head to get up to these windows. You're actually supposed to kick or spin Count before you go up here. That's why you can see Count floating in the window there. But you can just literally, as long as you get bugs in the right place, you should be able to stand by the door. Well, I've lost my train of thought entirely. You stand by the window and you should be able to. You should be able to land on the window. You can't actually do some of these on the PlayStation version. Some of them you can do, and some of them you can't.
So is Count going to be kind to Tascan? Second go, that's not too bad.
But Trips should take it now. And he has 35-45 for Trips.
GG.
Well done to Trips. That was a very, very good game, though, from the pair of them. It was nip and tuck all the way again, right up until the end.
Yeah, Trips was ahead for most of it, but then Tascan caught him up in Zoovania. Yeah, it was Zoovania. But that boss token, unfortunately, was the undoing of Tascan.
And Tascan, he's lost both of his games, but I think he should take a lot of credit from the two performances that he's given. Trips referring to how much he doesn't like Zoovania. I can't blame him. Zoovania is a horrible level. Horrible level.
And Tascan there finishing up with a 36-48.
Yeah, I noticed your crowd there, Trips, weren't enjoying Zoovania, but Trips getting a lot of support there in chat.
It really could have gone either way at the midway through Zoovania.
It certainly could have done. Yeah, same from me. GG to both players, because both players certainly played their part in that. So that means for Trips now that he is kind of joint top of the table, but everyone else has yet to play. I don't know if he'll come and join us for chat or not.
Yeah, so this is the beginning of round 2 in our round robin tournament. We have 6 runners. The next race is Saturday. I want to say.
Saturday. 12 o'clock UTC, I want to say. And then on Sunday, I guess you might say it's the big one on Sunday.
Sunday. Well, Saturday first is Ayesh against Bearhead, and Sunday is the Blue Knight, my commentator's with me today, versus Uxordo, who was the world record holder in this for a long, long time until the man I'm chatting with took it off him the night before the tournament started. He couldn't write it. Yeah, GG's to both runners. Is it exclamation R? Go give them a follow. Go give all the runners a follow.
I don't know whether Tascan's going to join us. I can see him in the setup, but I don't know whether he's going to come and have a chat to us or not. We'll give him a couple more minutes, and then.
It really is a good speed game. Yeah, there we go. Follow all the runners. Follow the Blue Knight. Don't follow me.
No, follow Treble. Watch the co-op world record.
Maybe this tournament will bring me out of retirement. Who knows? Who knows? He's
I can see Tascan there, but there's no Trips. Whether Trips wants to come or not, I don't know. It's up to him, I guess.
It must be really early in the morning for Trips.
Say, because I think he's 6 hours behind us. It's now 20 to 10 here in the UK where we are. So I think it's about 4 o'clock in the morning. So I wouldn't blame him if he didn't want to join us.
Well, fair play. It's an early one for most of us today, but it's an absolute pleasure to commentate and watch these races. I think I keep saying it, but I think it's such a good speed game. It really is.
Yeah, I echo what Treble has said there. I've enjoyed commentating on both games. I've enjoyed commentating with Treble. Hopefully, we'll do a few more before the tournament is over if we get the chance.
Yeah, it's my absolute pleasure. Absolute pleasure to be alongside 100% and All Boss Token world record holder. But also, the talent in the tournament is really good. But the way this category goes, one little mistake and the other runner can get straight back in. So it is, as you've seen today, really nip and tuck all the way through. And 36 and 35 is a nice solid time for these races.
It is, and Tascan still has a chance of winning, of course. I mean, I think now it's out of his hands a little bit, but he still has a chance of commentating. I'm just seeing. I may commentate on your game, Bearhead, but I think Uxordo fancied it, so I'd rather him, if he wants to do it, I'd rather let him have a go first, and then if he can't do it, then I can always step in if needed. We're still seeing what Tascan's up to. I think we might have to end it there, though. I think if he's not going to come.
Let's have a. Yeah, we'll give him a few minutes. He might pop over.
If he disappears, then we'll call it a day.
So in the end, that error just with the boss token cost him a minute, and ultimately.
Well, that's actually what happened in my run yesterday, weren't it? I actually did the exact same thing. Actually, I missed the token, and unfortunately, that's the only problem with the bubblegum strat. Oh, I believe.
Hi. Hello.
Hello.
Hi, mate. You alright?
I was no full Slovenia. Not use Slovenia.
Oh, it's just unfortunate. I think, mate. The race was literally neck and neck at that token.
Yeah, yes.
So unfortunate.
I see, and I miss the first clip, and now I trick Slovenia.
No, I was unlucky. It's just one of those things, isn't it? It can happen, unfortunately, and Trips managed to get ahead. But you were doing pretty well up until then. And the 36 is still a solid time.
Yes, but without this mistake, I can. I don't know if I can take one, but GG for certain trips.
Yeah, it was a shame because you were actually ahead when you got into Zuvania. I think you pulled it back at Zuvania, and you were just slightly ahead of Trips. And we were saying if you had got the token, it could have been decided by RNG. But I still think you'll get a win. because you've been playing well, you just need to get it over the line if you can.
It'll definitely come for sure.
Yes. So my next race.
I can look at your next race actually. You still got to play Exordo. You got to beat him. So I can. Your next game is against Aish. So that's an all French contest, I believe. Oh, is it actually? Yes, it's Aish.
Yes.
So yeah, that will be. Do you have any thoughts on racing him?
No. Ayash have a PB, not. How?
It should be. Sorry. Go on. Sorry.
Not far from mine, I think.
He's in the chat if you want to give him some fighting words in French. Tell him to beware. Well, we look forward to seeing you in the next round of fixtures, but we have two more on the weekend where Ayash is involved against Bearhead, and then Oxordo is against the Blue Knight himself on Sunday.
Oh. I want to see.
Yeah, that one is going to be a belter.
Should be a great game. Those taking place at so Aish versus Bearhead Saturday, 8 o'clock EDT, 12 o'clock UTC. That's 1 o'clock if you're in Britain, 2 o'clock if you're in Europe. And then on Sunday, as we mentioned, Oxordo v Blue Knight myself. It's on Sunday, but it's an hour later than Saturday's game, so 9 o'clock EDT, 1 o'clock UTC. Anyone else have anything to say?
And Bearhead will be on the comms for that one.
He will, and I think this is the good thing actually about this as well. It's good to hear different voices. I mean, I'm happy to do it, and I'm sure Trevor is as well. But it's great to hear different voices. So if anyone is in the community and fancies a go, then do step forward. Don't be afraid to have a go.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think on that note, we'll wrap up today's race. It was a really, really close one right there until the end. Certaintrips nicked it after Zoovania. Blue Knight, it was a pleasure commentating with you.
It was the same words that you said, Trevor. Hopefully we will have a chance to do at least one more. And it's been a great tournament so far, and hopefully it will continue to be a great tournament.
Yeah, hopefully it will. And GG's to Trips and GG's to Tascan. Exclamation BBTTB in the chat for our information on the tournament, the standings, and the Discord. Exclamation R, go and follow the runners, Trips and Tascan. Exclamation C, go and follow the Blue Knight. Don't follow me.
Follow him.
Big thanks to SpeedGaming for hosting this tournament and showing off our community and our game. It's great to have the exposure, in my opinion. I'm sure you guys agree with me.
Yes, I've forgotten the fella's name who helped us. He was in the chat somewhere. I can't remember. I've forgotten your name. I'm really sorry, but the fella who was helping us out. Thank you for all the hard work you did.
Yeah, thanks for the nice and smooth setup. And until next time, that's all, folks.
See you soon, everyone.